In this session, let's understand how to use this ALV using the control framework. So it is more of a class-based implementation of your ALV. In the previous session, we've already seen how to use it using this function modules. It is kind of outdated, this function module. After this, SAP came up with this control framework for ALV, where you can call one ALV controller class to generate the ALV report. And now we also have something called ALV object model, which is a pure object-oriented implementation of this ALV. So after this video, we'll discuss that as well. So in this session, let's understand how to show these ALV reports using the control framework. For that, I'll copy this program and make the necessary changes. We'll display the same output. So I'll copy this program into a new program. So ALV CTR. So in this program, I'll remove the function module part. So we don't need this. We won't be calling this function module anymore. So instead of this function module, we'll use this control framework. So I don't need this, and I also don't need this. And with this control framework, we'll be creating a container on the screen, and then similar to how we did with this text edit controller when we were discussing the module pool programming, I've shown you how to use the text edit. Similarly, instead of text edit, we'll be using this ALV controller. So for that, we'll be creating a container. So all the code that I'll be writing will be in the PBO of that screen. So I won't be using this perform statement, so I'll comment it for now. We'll create a screen. When you're using this ALV function module, it was using its own screen to display the ALV output. Whereas with this control framework, we have to define our own screen, and the report output will be displayed on our program screen. So I'll create one screen, and on the layout, I'll create this custom control. So whatever area you mark with this custom control, the ALV report will be displayed in this. So based on how wide or high you want that ALV report, you can mark it and give it some name. So let's say custom, you can give any name. And in the flow logic, I'll activate this PAI and PBO modules. So in PBO, we'll be calling our ALV, and in PAI, we'll be handling the user actions. So here we'll be calling the ALV, and here we'll be handling the user actions. Okay. So I'll quickly assign one OK code field to this element list. And then in my program, I'll define this OK code field. Now to work with this ALV class, we'll use this container reference first, similar to how we did with this text edit. So whatever custom control you have defined on the screen, you need to get a reference to that. For that, we use this, let's say, container type reference to CL GUI custom container, and then I'll be, for ALV, I'll be referring it to CL GUI ALV grid. So this is the controller class we'll be using to generate our ALV on that custom container which we defined on our screen. Now in the PBO, I'll instantiate this container object, create object container, and we've seen that it has a constructor which has one importing parameter which is the name of the container. So I'll say exporting container name equals to custom, that is the name we gave for our container, and then I'll instantiate this ALV object, and this has one importing parameter which is the mandatory. It has many importing parameters, but only one is mandatory, that is exporting I_parent equals to my container. So I'm getting a reference to my container, custom container that I've created on the screen, and I'm passing that object to this ALV while instantiating it. So if you don't remember this, we've already done this with text edit in the module pool programming. So if you may want to go back and quickly revise that topic on control framework in module pool programming section. So once you get that, then this has one method, set table for first display. So we have to call that method, and to that method we'll be passing our data. So I'll use this pattern button to call that method. So here instance is ALV, class is CL GUI ALV grid, and method is set table. If you use star and F4, it will pull out the name. Set table for first display. I'll call this method, and to this I'll export my structure name, which is ZST12 underscore plant, and I'll pass my internal table that has the data. In our case it is IT final, and that's all. So instead of calling the function module, we are calling this method of this CLGUI ALV grid class. Now if I execute, or in fact just because I'm calling this in this PBO module, this code will not be executed unless I call the screen. So after get data perform, earlier we were calling this perform show output where we handled that ALV function module. Now here I'll say call screen 100. So this will call this 100 screen, and when this screen is called, it will trigger the PBO of this screen. So in that case it will come and execute this code, and we only need to instantiate it once. So I'll say if container is initial, only then instantiate these objects. Now if I execute, if you want to see in debug mode, I'll keep a breakpoint on this call screen statement and execute. So here we are, once we get the data, I'm saying call screen. So at this point, it will call the PBO of this screen where I'm calling this module, and it will execute this code where we are first getting a reference to our container, and then we are passing that container object to this ALV controller, and in that, once this is instantiated, we are calling this set table for first display method to generate our ALV. So this is your ALV. Okay. Now if I click on back, it doesn't work, right? Nothing is working. So what we have to do is, I'll load my GUI status in this PBO. So I'll say status 100, double click, yes. I'll maintain this back exit cancel buttons. And if you want any custom buttons in the application toolbar like a PDF button, you can maintain them here. And PAI, I'll check for that OK code field. Say when back, do this. When cancel, do this. So now if I execute, so I got this ALV and I got these back buttons. So if I click on back, it will call my PAI where I'm handling the functionality. So this is how you can generate a simple ALV, and it comes with default functionality. So you have some default buttons here, sorting and everything, and you can load your own GUI status and keep your own buttons also. And if you want to make it react to double click, so it reacts to our GUI buttons because this is a screen, so we are handling it like module pool program. So you're loading the GUI status in PBO and handling the actions in PAI. So that functionality is working. But when I double click, if I want to provide some additional functionality, like calling another transaction or providing a drill down report, then we need to identify where the user has double clicked and then accordingly process it. In ALV function module, we were passing one subroutine name and maintaining that subroutine in our program. Whereas with this ALV grid control, this is more object oriented. So we have to create one method, local class in our program, and within that we'll maintain one method for event handler. And when you double click, it will raise one event. And when that event is raised, it will call our method. So we'll see how to implement that. So to do that, you can create a local class or you can also use a global class. So we'll create a local class. So I'll say class, let's say here, after the definitions, class, let's say LCL event handler, definition, end class, and class LCL event handler implementation, end class. Now if you look at this ALV grid class, CLGUI ALV grid, it has certain events, and one of the events is double click. So when you double click on that ALV report output, this event will be raised by this class, and we have to define one event handler method to react to this event. And this method, this event has a few parameters. So it will be passing this information to you in your event handler method, and using this information we can identify which column and row the user has double clicked. So I'll be importing these three in my method that I'll be defining. So when you're creating an event handler method, the parameter name should be exactly same as how they are in the event. You cannot give other names. So what we'll do is we'll create one, let's say public section, method, methods, let's say catch double click. And the syntax for defining an event handler method is you give the keyword methods, method name, for event double click, that is the event that is raised, of this class CLGUI ALV grid, importing these three parameters. Here this parameters name should be same as how they are defined in the event. I copied it from there. So this is a syntax to define a event handler method. You say methods, method name, for event, that event for which you are defining this event handler method, of this class. So this event should exist in this class. Okay, and if the event has any exporting parameters, then you have to import them, all those parameters. And in the sorry, I should be keeping this in the definition section. And in the implementation section, we'll implement this method catch double click end method, and I'll just write one if condition to keep a breakpoint. E underscore row is not initial something. I'll keep a breakpoint here. If this event is raised, then it should stop at our breakpoint. But just because you maintain one event handler method, it will not call this method. We have to set a handler for this event, right? So after calling this ALV here, I can instantiate my local class, or let's say first I'll define one data hello event type reference to my LCL event handler, the local class, and I'll say create object hello event, and then we have to use this statement set handler hello event, my method name catch double click for this ALV object. So this is the syntax to set the handler. Only when you set the handler, the system will register those events. So when that event is raised by this class CLGUI ALV grid, then the system will know that this is the method that is registered for this event in your program. So it will go and execute that method. So now if I execute, if I double click on this particular row, it is the row number 4, it is calling my local method where it is passing this e row. So e row will have this row type and index. So index is 4. E column will tell you which column you double clicked. I double clicked on the MATNAR column, and ES row number will tell you the row number. So the row ID is 4. So based on this, you can identify which row the user has double clicked, and then maybe you can do whatever you want to do. You can call a transaction, or if you want to read the data of that row, you can read this IT final internal table using this index. So it will read you that record. Okay. So here you can write your code. So in our example, I can say something like this: call transaction MM03. If I want, I can write one if condition to check the column is MATNAR, only then execute it. So if I'll remove this, execute, and when I double click, it calls MM03. Okay. So this is your ALV grid using the control framework. So it has a lot of options, like there are a lot of methods, events that you can use. For example, if you see this class, and if you check the events, so you can do something when the user right clicks on that ALV grid, size control, left click control. So all these different events are triggered. So if you want to, for example, if he presses F1 on a field, then you want to do something, then you can create one event handler method for this event and handle it accordingly. So all these things will be handled by defining this event handler methods in your code. So we have defined for double click. Similarly, you define for other events and maintain the methods to handle those events in your program. So in ALV function module, we were doing it using subroutines. Here we are doing it using methods. That's a major difference. But what that function module is doing is, this function module also, that ALV grid function module also uses internally the same techniques to do it. It's just that they've created one wrapper function module. So if you're not comfortable working with these classes, then you can simply call that function module. But if you're comfortable, then this is a better way to do it, because you have more control as you'll be using your own screen. So you can handle a lot of things on the PAI. And another thing is, when you're calling that ALV function module, it takes up the whole screen. So you just have one screen. Whereas with this, I can actually design my screen differently. So for example, I can allocate something like this. So I can create one input field, that material number field here, and when the user inputs that name number, so I can say, for example, material, and I can say vMatner, and I can resize it to accommodate other elements on the screen if I want. And if I execute this now, so instead of showing the selection screen, we can actually use this screen itself. So the user can input one material number and hit enter, and below we can display the information to the user. So like that you can do a lot of things, because this is your own screen, so you have a lot more control on your program. Whereas when I use this ALV function module, it was loading its own screen. The function module has its own screen, so I don't have any control on that particular screen, because that doesn't belong to my program. So whereas with this container class, we have more control on our program. Okay, so that's your ALV grid using the control framework. So in the next session, I'll talk about ALV using the ALV object model, which is even more simple and straightforward. So we'll see how to do that in the next video.